This is the solution for the 6 BCS. The 6 BCS consists of 6 bands, 2 top crossing bands, and 4, 1, 2, 3, 4 outside bands. I'll now take the ring apart and help you identify the bands when they're loose. So the easiest way to identify this ring is that you're going to have 4 bands as a set and then 2 bands as a set. So you know the 2 bands are going to be your top 2 crossing bands. The way I like to identify the top 2 bands is with touch. I'm going to feel the top of it. The topmost band is going to be smooth. The band that crosses underneath, when you rub your finger across it, you're going to notice a nice deep dimple right here. I don't know if you can see it on the video, but when you run your finger across, you're going to feel that dimple right there. Now I'm going to just let these go to the side, and I'm going to identify the outside bands. So I got lucky here. They all ended up in the position that I needed them to. So essentially you're going to have 4 bands that sort of have a kind of an angle to them. So for this step, you're going to want to make sure that you have all the bands that are facing opposite to each other, so 2 going in one direction, 2 going in the other. And you're also going to want to make sure that the angles, you have the widest angle, and then you have an inner angle, and then again you have a wider angle, and then you have an inner angle. Then you know they're in the right position. If you have these switched, then you won't be able to solve the puzzle. So for this step, I'm going to hold on to the 2 top bands, and I'm going to let these 4 outside bands just drop. I want to make sure they drop to the same direction. If they drop in opposite directions or they get separated, they're not going to be in the correct position. So I'm going to let them drop, and then I like to let them stay face down, because then gravity is going to keep them in the position that I need them in. So now I'm going to take the top 2 bands, and I work with the dimpled band always in my right hand, and the top smooth band just stays stationary in my left hand. It doesn't do any work, it just kind of hangs out there. So I'm going to take the top dimpled band. You can see it's lifting up these the 4 outside bands here. So I'm going to take it and I'm going to turn it clockwise. And this may require some trial and error. Because of the design on this one, you need to kind of jiggle it a little bit, and you'll feel it kind of lock into place. Because you want these bands to be touching. See? I don't know, you can't hear it, but it kind of locks into place, and then you can see they're real nice and tight and close to each other. And what you've done is you've created this sort of figure 8 that these outside bands are trapped into. And it's a real nice smooth figure 8. So again, I'm going to turn the ring so it's face down. And again, trial and error here. What you want to do is you want to take the outermost band, and you're going to start with that one. And a lot of people ask me, how do I know I've got the outermost band? It's just going to be trial and error. 9 times out of 10, once you get to this point, if you're working with your right hand, you've twisted the dimpled band with your right hand, the outermost band is going to be this right band. But maybe somehow it got twisted and you've got it on the opposite direction. You're just going to have to try it and see. So this is the outermost band, because you're not going to be able to tell by looking at them which is the outermost band, because they look very similar to each other. So I'm going to make sure that I get it, and I put it on top of the other bands, because if they get caught underneath, you're not going to be able to solve the puzzle. It's nice and loose. Turn it into the figure 8, and then like a hinge on a door. You see how it's real loose, and it's just like a hinge on a door. And I close the door. See, again, they're nice and smooth with each other. I'm going to take the whole ring, turn it around because I want to work with the other angle. So again, take the widest edge, make sure it's real loose, turn it into the figure 8, hinge on the door, and fold it down. Now you might have to jiggle it a little bit, because this design is sort of tricky with that chain link on the top. They kind of get a little bit caught onto each other. So all I'm doing here is just kind of jiggling it a little bit to get it to lock into place. I don't want to force it because that will bend the bands. There you go, see? Nice and smooth. So now I'm going to take the whole ring, turn it around, and again get the other opposite side. You always want to go one side, next side, one side, next side. take it, make sure it gets on top of this band, nice and loose. Turn it into that little hole, hinge on the door, close my door. Take the whole ring, turn it around, I got my last band. Turn it into the figure 8, hinge on the door, real nice and loose, close my door. And there you have the solution for the 6 BCS.